Okay, so you've probably seen it, right? Legal weed being sold online, in smoke shops, maybe even at your local gas station. And you've got to wonder, what's the deal with that? Well, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to clear up all that confusion around THCA and THC and really break down the legal loophole that has everybody talking.
So let's just get right to the big question. Are these products you can buy pretty much anywhere the exact same thing you'd get in a state-licensed dispensary? The short answer, absolutely not. And we're about to show you exactly why they're different and, more importantly, what that actually means for you.
I mean, it feels like these THCA products are popping up everywhere you look. They're all being sold as this totally legal way to get a THC experience, which, has left a lot of people both curious and, frankly, a little confused.
And this quote right here, it hits the nail on the head. So many people just assume it's all the same stuff. But trust me, they are fundamentally different, and we're about to get into why. Okay, to really wrap your head around the difference, let's use a super simple analogy. Just think about an unripe piece of fruit versus a perfectly ripe one.
So THCA is like that unripe fruit. It's got all the potential, but it's just not quite there yet. Delta-9 THC, which is the stuff that's famous from dispensaries, well, that's the perfectly ripe, juicy fruit. So what's the magic ingredient that ripens THCA into THC? It's simple: heat.
In scientific terms, THCA is what's known as a precursor to THC. It's basically the before in a classic before and after picture. The moment you apply heat, from a lighter, a vape, anything like that, a little chemical reaction happens, and that is what transforms THCA into the THC that everyone knows.
All right, let's try another analogy, but this time let's focus on the experience. If that first one was all about the science, this one's all about the character and the feel of it.
Think of it like this. THCA products are kind of like wine or beer. Yeah, they're in the same family, but they just have a different vibe, a different profile. Now, dispensary-grade THC, that's more like a top-shelf liquor, like a really good whiskey that's been matured to perfection for a much more potent experience.
So you're probably asking, how in the world is this legal? Well, it all goes back to the 2018 Farm Bill. That bill made hemp illegal by defining it as a cannabis plant with less than 0.3% Delta-9 THC. Since these THCA plants are naturally low in Delta-9 THC when they're raw, they technically, legally, qualify as hemp. The big switch to THC only happens when you, the person using it, add heat. And that, right there, is the loophole.
And this brings us to a really, really important point for anyone thinking about buying these products. You've got to understand this loophole to know what you're actually getting.
Yeah, this is where you really need to be careful. It's not that the products themselves are fake, but some of the claims made about them can be pretty misleading. It's all about going in with your eyes open.
So let's just lay it all out. Is it fake? No, THCA is a totally real cannabinoid. But is it the same thing you're getting from a licensed dispensary? Also no. The biggest thing is to just watch out for over-the-top claims and manage your expectations. These products are just not a direct substitute for dispensary-grade cannabis. Plus, they often come from a totally unregulated market, and that can mean you get inconsistencies in quality, in potency, the whole shebang.
So, after all that, what's the big takeaway here? It really comes down to one simple thing. Knowledge is power.
This right here is the most important thing to remember. THCA is the precursor, and THC is the final activated form. It's the unripe fruit versus the ripe fruit, the wine versus the liquor. They're absolutely related for sure, but they are not the same thing.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. Now that you actually know the difference, is this loophole really a clever shortcut to the real thing? Or is it just a completely different path? Honestly, the answer to that really just depends on what you're looking for.